Let's go live to Kumasi now, to the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital, and speak with my colleague Seth Kwame Boateng, who is there. Seth, I know that it goes without saying that you are very much excited about this. So is the team here in Accra. But I want to know how the health workers there are reacting to this good news.
Well, they are excited, they are very happy, just that they are unable to join us here because of the protocol, social distancing protocol. So only a few, even here at Komfo-Anokye, they have just 2 slots. The chief executive and the chairman of the board will be allowed here. The rest cannot join in the celebration here, but they will be watching everything here on JoyNews. So they're excited. And as you can see behind me, preparations are almost done. I understand the president has landed, and in the next 30 minutes or so, he will join us here. His Majesty the Asantehene is also expected to be here. The regional minister and his team will also be here. But I have with me here, let's go first to Mr. Beninkansa. In fact, he has worked so hard to make sure that we are witnessing this today, and he's in charge of infrastructure at the Ministry of Health. So thanks for your time, Mr. Beninkansa.
Yeah,
and how do you feel after so many years of putting so much pressure on you?
Kwame, I can say that what I can say is that I'm extremely happy for this very day. It's something that we've been looking for a while, trying to explore financing to complete this very project that will help to reduce maternal mortality. I'm extremely happy on this occasion that finally the government has secured an amount that is needed to complete this project on a turnkey basis.
To complete this we are not going to hear complaints again that we have short money, there is no funding, so we cannot complete.
Kwame, I can assure you that we've secured the financing. The government has secured the financing. We've gone through the process. It's a financing that the government has secured from the UKEF, United Kingdom Export Finance.
Yes.
We've gone through all the due process in terms of getting cabinet and parliamentary approval. PPA approval has been gotten. We have secured the process. Contract has been declared effective, and the contractor Construction UK is the nominated. The contractor that has been earmarked to execute this project on a 24 months on a turnkey basis. Turnkey basis, what it means is that it's going to build, equip, and then finish it, and then at the end of the day, it's going to be handed over to the management of Komfo-Anokye to start operating the facility.
And your colleague here will be directly in charge of this project.
Yes, Mr. Richard
Van der Poy will be directly in charge of this project. Welcome to JoyNews.
Thank you.
Let's know about the components. What are we to expect in this building? What are the components?
Basically, this project is supposed to be dedicated to mother and child health. So mainly you have maternity, which is obs and gynae, and then you have some aspects of pediatrics for the project. We are hoping to achieve close to 800 beds in this project, and the project duration will be for 2 years, by which time we expect the contractor to complete the whole work. It's designed to be an ultra-modern facility.
The artistic impression looks like a hotel.
Well, that's the whole idea. It's a modern facility, and it's supposed to be convenient and provide the necessary facilities dedicated to taking care of maternal health care and child health care. So we're going to have all the support facilities, all the technologies that help to deliver the healthcare services to support maternal health care.
And how certain are we that within this time frame, contractors under this project will be able to complete and hand over? Because not only the people of Ashanti region need this project, I know Komfo-Anokye serves about 5 other regions too, so it's a strategic one, and people are really looking forward to.
Exactly. We've worked out the program with the contractor. We've sat down, we've looked at their execution plan, and we are very confident that within 24 months the project will be completed. The contractor that has been nominated to do this is also an experienced contractor. They have done works abroad, and they have done some works in Ghana.
I understand even KJTIA, they were handling the KJTIA project.
Exactly, they did KJTIA, they are working on also the airport, and we believe they have the capacity to deliver the project on time.
Okay,
yes.
Let's go back to Mr. Kansa. It's been 47 years. This project was started in 1974. Hasn't it got any defect that you have to bring down some things and other things?
Well, I mean, as you recall, I mean, it's been standing for quite a long time, where we have to do some structural, reinforcement to bring it up to the level that we're expecting. So all those things, we've done a lot of studies, and we've actually come up with the way forward to address any defects that have been identified on the building, because it's been standing for that while. But I believe that at the end of the day, it's going to be fit for purpose for which we are actually going to execute this project.
And Ernest, we have also been joined by the rep of contractor. That is the contractors who will be working on this project. Right. Mr. Ado, right? Danso. Mr. Danso, right? Yes, okay. So we understand that you have 12 months to finish this project and hand over. Yes. Are you going to meet this timeline? This
34 months.
34 months.
Yes. 24 months to complete. Yeah. We are ready, willing, and able to start as we get the green light to move forward. And so today marks the day. It's the beginning of this great event, so we know we'll be able to do it.
And government tells us that they have the money ready to finish this. Have you been told same?
Yes, true. It's sourced by UKEF, so there's no need going back and forth. Parliament has approved. All the necessary checks have been done, and we are ready. Willing to start.
So
now.
When is work actually starting? Because I've seen some of your men already here.
My men came just to clear the site, but the selected people are ready. They will start doing some work in there. And so from today...
Meaning they've already started work?
Yes. From today we'll see things getting on well with us.
Okay. I can hear the siren, possibly. I think the president is not far from here. We may have to end this here, but our viewers should stay tuned because we're going to bring you live coverage of this event. I hand over to you, Kwamla. Ernest.
All right, thank you very much, Seth, and definitely we'll be coming back to Kumasi once the event begins, so we can bring listeners up to speed on what is happening in Kumasi. Of course, that is something that we are very much interested in, and we'll return to Kumasi once that event begins. You're watching News Desk with me, Ernest Minu. Let's bring you some more stories on health. As Ghana's COVID-19 case count soars, businesses continue to respond to the call by government to boost local production of essential items that will help fight the pandemic. The latest to step up the plate is iron and steel production company Fabrimetal. The company is partnering the Ministry of Health to supply free oxygen to hospitals across the country. There's more in the following report. From the production of PPEs and essential medicines, President Akufo-Addo said he is impressed with the response of local manufacturers to the fight against COVID-19. According to health experts, the treatment of critical COVID-19 cases are largely dependent on the availability of ventilators. However, many hospitals lack an essential commodity that helps in its administration: oxygen. It is for this reason that Fabrimetal is partnering with the Ministry of Health to provide free bottles of oxygen to government hospitals across the country.
When we met Dr. Okuboy, he told us that oxygen is so critical to the fight against coronavirus. So we decided to make it an open program to all health institutions that will be in need of oxygen until we fight and win this battle. We have a facility. We can provide about 1,400 cubic meter of oxygen weekly to institutions free of charge without. What we require is that they must have the oxygen bottles because we have limited bottles here. So if they bring their oxygen bottles, we fill for them free.
CEO of the company, Rohat Raj, says though this has slowed down production, it has become necessary because of the global crisis, adding it falls within the company's corporate social responsibility.
And we are continuing to explore any other requirements the hospitals have. We are looking at finding other platforms and other interventions where we can support Ministry of Health and Government of Ghana to counter this pandemic. This indeed is a part of our corporate social responsibility, but then this crisis has just ushered in certain innovative ways we thought that oxygen, while we would produce oxygen ourselves, which was scarce for us itself, for our production processes, which was a constraint, a limitation, but we decided to cut down on our productions and support the hospitals with this important requirement what they have.
Already, the Kolebu and Lekma hospitals have received in excess of 200 bottles of oxygen. Human Resource Manager Bernard Senyo Avatri says support was first extended to the Prampram community where the company operates and its staff.
So through the Prampram District Assembly, the District Chief Executive, Honorable Jonathan, we came up with an intervention program. We bought rice, oil, and soap, and then we distributed to the communities, around. The objective of that is to reach out to about 250 families. In the process, we got to about 300 families with rice, oil, and soap. Then our workers were also at the time in the house. So we got some rice and we distributed to our workers that were around.
Meanwhile, they are ensuring strict adherence to safety protocols. Now, still on COVID-19, 20 non-Ghanaians, including one female traveling from Côte d'Ivoire to Kumasi and Techiman, have been arrested at Kato near Brekum Thursday afternoon. The foreigners who used unapproved routes to enter Ghana are nationals from neighboring countries, including Burkina Faso and Togo. They tried inducing immigration officers with 100 Ghana cedi each to enable them have a smooth pass after they were stopped at the immigration checkpoint at Kato. Now, this number adds to the over 1,000 repatriated foreigners who entered the Bono region since Ghana's borders were closed due to the coronavirus. There's more in this report by Precious Semevo.
Ghana's borders remain closed as the coronavirus cases near 6,000, with one confirmed case in Sampa in the Bono region. But some foreigners continue to explore illegal means to enter the country. 20 of such people who entered Ghana from Côte d'Ivoire through Doma and Sampa in the Doma district and German North district have been arrested Thursday afternoon at Kato checkpoint near Brekum. Assistant Superintendent of Immigration Isaac Osei Asamoah has been speaking to Joy News.
As you can see now, you can see them, a lot of them here from Togo, Burkina, and then the rest, Côte d'Ivoire, other countries. When you get here, the bus will stop, and then they will come down and then walk. So while they are walking, we will be picking them one by one, and then we'll be asking them questions. That's what we call profiling. So whilst we profile them, we get to know that, okay, this person is from this country, this person is from this country. As it stands now, we have about 20 people. They've given us the specific places that they passed. We will take them back to wherever they are coming from. We have the gun thermometer here, so we check them ourselves. If your temperature is high, then we call the health people to also come in. When they get to Côte d'Ivoire border, they pay their way out. Last Friday, we intercepted 7 people, and then what they told us was they took 10,000 CFA each from them, and then they will show them the route to enter the country. So when they get here, and then we also intercept them, they will try to pay their ways out, which we don't agree to those things.
Some transport operators take money to help them beat the gaze of Ghanaian immigration officers by sharing them on minibuses traveling from Doma and Sampa through Sunyani to their final destinations. Bono Regional Commander of Immigration, Assistant Commissioner of Immigration Charles Yaobediakon, told Joy News over 1,000 foreigners have been intercepted and repatriated since the border was closed in the region.
We mounted a checkpoint on the Sunyani-Brekum highway at a place called Kato. Since we mounted that checkpoint, we have intercepted 125 foreigners and repatriated them. A lot of Togolese in Côte d'Ivoire, they want to come through Ghana to Togo, so they don't have any means to come but to use the unapproved routes. Since the border was closed, we have intercepted and repatriated 1,089 people, that is foreigners. Now, we have a place like Gonokrom. 62 of foreigners have been intercepted and repatriated. In Grand Kwanta, in the Doma West, 221 foreigners Sampa has repatriated 272. Kofi Badu Krom has done 133. We also have a Tuna Tanso checkpoint at Wenchi and others.
He had this advice to Ghanaians living along the borders.
Unfortunate thing is, those border residents, sometimes they aid the foreigners to enter the country. They use motorbikes and other means, and they create unapproved routes to get the people into the country. Because of that, a place like Nkrankwanta, the commander there seized about 21 motorbikes. And these persons were just carrying people from Cote d'Ivoire to Ghana. They are thinking about the money they will get from these people without thinking about the effects of the disease, the virus. Then that is very unfortunate. So we are appealing to our border residents. They are part of us. We are one.
For Joy News, Precious Semevo, Brekum.
Let's stay in the Ashanti region. About 63 houses structures earmarked for demolition to make way for a road project at Abofo in the Ashanti region is creating anxiety among owners. Residents say pulling down the structures without proper arrangements just 13 days after notice is unfair. They are surprised and disappointed at the development for which they want government to intervene. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reports.
17th of April this last month, we were here and some people came and marked our house, telling us that they would demolish it. We were thinking that they were joking. Really, 4 days or later, they started doing their work.
Hamidu Salam is one of over 500 people here in Offenso South municipality who are likely to lose their property.
They are demolishing the houses. We have no place to sleep. That is why we want the government to come in and tell us whether it is right to be doing that work, demolishing our houses without any compensation. We don't know whether that one is the right thing to be done in Ghana.
They've not told us where exactly they are relocating us to. I've had this land for close to 30 years now.
Sheikun Dachi is a physically challenged widow. Her husband died last December and she now has to fend for herself and 3 children. So I ask if there are any plans for her.
As I speak with you now, I have a fractured hand. I have lost my husband. I have lost my child too. Now where to lay my head has also become a problem for me. I pleaded several times with them not to demolish my building, but all fell on deaf ears.
Well, maybe a miracle would save Madam Dachi.
I leave God to be the judge in this demolition. It is exactly a month now after I returned from my husband's funeral. And look at what has happened to me again.
For many others, however, they can only look up to God to change their fate. They gather to discuss what they say is beyond them. Neither local authorities nor the project engineer could be reached for comment. A report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
And let's do some more stories. With the ban on religious gatherings extended to the end of May, the Eid al-Fitr celebrations, which commemorates the end of the month of Ramadan, will not be observed for the first time in the life of many Muslims across the country. Now, what does this mean to the Muslim community, and how are they reacting to this ban, which is set to affect the Eid celebrations? My colleague Anas Abit has been engaging some Muslims in Techiman and filed this report.
In my address to workers and the nation on May Day, I announce the extension of the closure of our borders for 1 more month as the means to continue halting the importation of the virus into our country. Tonight, I've come into your homes to announce that the ban on public gatherings, as set out in Executive Instrument number 64, has been extended also to the end of the month, i.e. 31st May.
This announcement by the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in his last address to the nation means that the Eid al-Fitr, a celebration which marks the end of the month of Ramadan, cannot be observed in a congregational manner by Muslims across the country. Now, in the first place, what is Eid al-Fitr? And what is the stance of this celebration to the Muslim Ummah? Sheikh Mansour Anas is an Islamic cleric.
Before the immigration of the Prophet ﷺ from Mecca to Medina, the people of Medina used to celebrate in their own way before the arrival of the Prophet ﷺ. When the Prophet ﷺ reached Medina, he said, Allah has replaced the two is that they used to celebrate with two which are better than what they used to do, the Eid al-Fitr and the Eid al-Adha. So it is very important in Islam for us to have these 2 days in a year to celebrate our religion and then meet our friends, family, and then enjoy the moments when it's really that time.
Sheikh Mansour tells me that though the celebration of the Eid is important to the Muslim world, its ban in a congregational manner does not affect the month-long fast being observed by Muslims.
Eid al-Fitr usually occur or happen on the first day of the month of Shawwal, which is the 10th month on the Islamic calendar. And the fasting has to do with the month of Ramadan, which is 29 or 30 days. When the month comes to an end, the fasting has ended. So the Eid is different, but it usually comes immediately after the end of the Ramadan, but it has nothing to do with the fasting.
But under what instance does Islam permit Muslims to stay away from religious congregations?
When there is some outbreak of a pandemic in any area, any part of the world, the Prophet ﷺ advised the Ummah, if you are not at that area, don't go there. And those within that affected area shouldn't go out just to experience this quarantine method to limit the infection and then the spread of the infection. And even some instances when there is some extreme cold weather, after the azan, they used to see وَمَنْ شَاءَ قَعَدَ, who wishes to just stay at his home and then pray. So if something like this happens, we have to know that Islam is a religion that comes to protect mankind. And there is nothing in the religion or in Islam which will impose us to do something. If that thing will cause harm to our health or to our life, the religion allows us to do that.
To the Muslim populace, what does this ban mean to them? And are they worried that they are not observing this particular religious celebration after this Ramadan? We are really worried, but we have no choice but to accept it in good faith.
Even though we are worried, but we don't have anything to do. It's God's making, and then we have to observe it as such.
They, however, called on colleague Muslims to desist from holding events capable of defying the directives being laid out by authorities.
This is not a punishment from any other person, because it's God's making, and then we have to obey whatever God has given to you. You will take it. So I urge my colleague Muslims to obey, not to disobey.
I call on colleague Muslims to adhere to the President's directives. That will be very helpful to all of us. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
We are definitely not in ordinary times, but this too shall pass. We're taking a break for business here on News Desk, and Ghana's total debt stock in the first quarter goes up significantly to hit 236 billion cedis. Daryl Kwao has details after this break.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. The country's total debt stock has gone up significantly for the first quarter to hit 236 billion cedis. This was captured in a latest summary of economic and financial data released by the Bank of Ghana. George Rafe has more.
According to the data, in just about 3 months, the total debt stock increased by 18 billion Ghana cedis since December 2019 to hit 236 billion Ghana cedis. However, tracking the debt position from March 2019 to March 2020, the total debt stock increased by 36.1 billion Ghana cedis. Joy businesses learned that this might not necessarily be as a result of fresh borrowing, but can be linked to the city's marginal depreciation during that period and some additional spending to help deal with the financial sector cleanup. The 236 billion Ghana cedis should translate to about 59.3% of the total value of the economy. Now, based on this debt, every Ghanaian should owe about 7,870 Ghana cedis if the debt is shared among a population size of 30 million. Some analysts have even argued that Ghanaians could be paying more in the form of taxes to help settle these debts. When it comes to the country's international reserves, the data put it at $10.2 billion, representing 4.8 months of import cover, slightly higher than our position with the same period last year. In the banking sector, there was a lot to smile about as loans that banks fear would go bad was improving. Deposits was picking up strongly, while loan advances was going up substantially.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana is getting ready to announce a new policy rate. It has been meeting in the past 4 days to review developments in the economy since March this year. Many would be looking forward to see whether the Bank of Ghana would be coming out with some fresh measures to help cushion the banking sector against the coronavirus shocks. Another key announcement that many will be looking forward to is the new policy rate, which would impact the cost of credit in the country. At their last meeting, the Monetary Policy Committee dropped the rate by a significant margin to 14.5%, and some industry experts are also looking forward for the rate to be kept unchanged. And we'll bring you more once that announcement is made. In other news, the manager of the Besfa Rural Bank at Garu in the Upper East region has said his bank will not lay off any of its workers in the wake of the economic challenges brought about by the coronavirus pandemic. He says the bank hopes to create more employment for people in that area as soon as things normalize. Abed Sori has more.
East Small Scale Farmers Association, or Besfa Rural Bank, prides itself as the bank for the ordinary farmer and places agribusiness at the top of its business decisions. The bank has branches at Boko, Garu, and Pusiga, all in the Upper East region, and 3 other branches in the Northeast region. In the wake of the current challenges in the world of business as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, things have generally become slow for the Besfa Rural Bank. But the management says it is not going to lay off any workers, as many businesses across the world have been forced to do in recent times. Alhaji Hayatuddin Awudu Ibrahim is the manager.
Things are difficult a bit, but I mean, it hasn't gotten to, or it did not crystallize a situation where we even contemplated laying off of staff. That is not something that we are considering because, yes, there has been business slowing down a bit, but not with a negative impact in our books that will necessitate any such difficult measures being taken. So for now, that is not even on the table at all. We rather actually hoping that very soon we will rather expand and ensure that we actually offer more employment to the most of the unemployed youth out there, rather than seeking to constrict what we already have.
He is hopeful that government stimulus package to support businesses and industries hit by the coronavirus pandemic in Ghana will make things a lot easier.
And that's all for business for now. Sports is coming up next on News Desk. Stay tuned.
And it's now time for sports. George is here. Hello, George. How are you doing?
Yes, of course. We'll talk about the Bundesliga. And then I'll tell you about some special goals by Ghanaians, or goals scored by Ghanaians in the EPL. But before that...
Yeah, there's something that fascinates me, and that is seeing people who are physically challenged engage in sports. It's something that really fascinates. But there's something happening in Kumasi. We understand that the Disability Association there, the sports wing, have had a facility which has served them for the last 30 years, being taken away from them by a private developer, and they've been asking the Otunfo, the Asantehene, to intervene in this. Here's a report by Asensu Mensah. Let's watch this quickly, then we'll discuss the Bundesliga.
Built in 1948, the Kumasi Social Club has been the only facility for the persons with disability to socialize, exercise, and train for both local and international tournaments. A private developer is taking over the property as rehabilitation work are already going on in earnest. President of the association, Osei Kwame Mensah, says members are losing their only platform for social reintegration.
Asante Region Disabled Sports. This is where we train for the past 30 years, and suddenly for the past 3 days we are getting notice that we should move from this place and we shouldn't come here to come and train again. And we don't have anywhere to go. That's why we are here this morning.
So how is it affecting you?
In fact, it will affect a lot of us, because this is our rehab center, and this is where we do our fun games. We have our meetings. In fact, this is our home. So if we are not coming here again, it will affect us. A lot of us, our home, the family doesn't recognize them. This place that they came, that they feel belongs to the big family. So it will affect us a lot.
Yesterday, 13th May, marked exactly 1 year after the Ashanti regional team hosted and won a football match against their Accra counterparts at the venue. Captain of the Ashanti Warriors Kids soccer side, Awal bin Mohammed, says relocating from the Kumasi Social Club will be a big blow to the sportsmen.
Last year, May, we held a match, a skate soccer competition, which MTN was the headline sponsor, and Binatin Ghana. So we won. We played 2 matches, and we won all the 2 matches by beating the Accra teams, both of them. We went to the final in Accra, but unfortunately we have been robbed. We are not able to carry the glory to come back to Kumasi. It is our wish to carry that glory to come to Kumasi to celebrate Otunfo on his 20th anniversary on the Golden Stool, but we are not able to do that. However, we achieved something as far as physical sport disabled is concerned here in Kumasi.
The PWD Sports Association is made of different disability associations, including the Ghana Blind Union. The regional president of the Ghana Blind Sports Association, Charles Osubuachi, reiterates the livelihood is gone with the takeover of the facility.
Attending them, just quite recently we had a friendly match between South Africa and Nigeria, and I think Cote d'Ivoire was among. One of the countries didn't appear, but we had it. And we also went to America, is it this year? Yeah, this year we went to America for another tournament. In fact, when we heard the news, it's not easy for us at all. And then we also have another game that it is similar to tennis ball and table tennis ball. And all this facility, our equipment that we use, we don't know where we are conveying them to now. It is having some long bars that we use, and they are all kept at the center, and we don't know where we are conveying them to now. We just pick our bag from there, where we have our ball, and then some small items that we can bat and other things that we can pick. That's what we pick. But this big board that we used to play the tennis, we don't know where we are conveying them to.
Private developer could not be raised for comment. Nana Asensu Mensah reporting.
And George, this is a worrying development.
Yeah, because the disabled are doing very well. I'm physically challenged, it's a better word to use. because I know for skate soccer, for instance, we have a serious part members from the Ashanti region joining the national team. I was with them in Nigeria, where they played the Benetton skate soccer competition. They did very well. Aside that, there are other competitions that they've been participating in. I know the last time I met them as well at the Tema Station, the hockey pitch, and saw some of them. So it's important that we try to make sure that they're comfortable. It's not only about playing the sport, but it's a way of making them feel okay and trying to reintegrate them back into society. So it's something I think we...
Especially when some of them say this is home for them.
Yeah, this is home, basically, because it's also taking some of them off the streets and all of that. So it's a very touchy area and something that we have to look at critically.
All right, but let's talk about the Bundesliga now.
Yeah, so we have the Bundesliga coming in. We're going to see some games tomorrow.
Celebrating 25 years of media excellence, thanks for being with us every step of the way. Hello and welcome to Joy News Interactive with me, Na Ajele Doku. Join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter on Joy News on TV. Our WhatsApp number is 0540109009. Now, the first on our menu is to pick your thoughts on a row over the new voters register. And it appears the two major political parties are divided on that. The governing new NPP, the New Patriotic Party, campaign coordinator for 2020 elections, Peter McMenu, is dismissing claims that the NPP is the beneficiary of the new electoral roll. He argues NDC is kicking against the new voters register over fear of losing the elections with their candidate John Mahama. He is confident the electorate would re-elect Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo based on his sterling performance over the last 3 years.
It is not the fault of any Ghanaian that the NDC chose to bring back as their presidential candidate for 2020 the very man whose hands the NDC suffered their biggest defeat in history. It is not the fault of NPP that the NDC chose to bring back as their 2020 presidential candidate the very same man who gave Ghana the worst economic growth performance since 1994. It is not the fault of President Akufo-Addo that the NDC has very little confidence in their own chosen candidates for the 2020 elections in the person of John Mahama. We do not need the EC to rig an election in our favor. A government that has put 1.3 million children to school, who, if NDC was in power, would be on the streets, does not need an election to be rigged in its favor. A government that has restored industry and is creating jobs for the people does not need an election to be rigged in its favor. A government that has put 100,000 unemployed graduates to work does not need an election to be rigged in its favor. A government that has put the interests of the ordinary Ghanaian first, whether it is protecting money of millions of depositors or absorbing the cost of electricity and water of 30 million Ghanaians to ease the suffering of the people when there is a crisis, such a government does not need an election to be rigged in its favor. We intend to fight and win in December based on our performance.
Now, the opposition and National Democratic Congress, on the other hand, is alleging both the Electoral Commission and the National Identification Authority are scheming to rig the general elections for the governing NPP. NEC Chairman Samuel Ofosu-Ampofo said the EC's insistence on making the Ghana card and passport the only requirement for the enrollment of the new voters register for the new voters will disenfranchise most of their supporters.
It does appear that the Jim Mensah-led EC, ably supported by the Kenatefa-led NIA, are only interested in rigging the 2020 general elections for President Akufo-Addo and the ruling New Patriotic Party through voter suppression in NDC strongholds. clearly a conspiracy between the EC, NIA, and President Akufo-Addo to rig the 2020 general election. It is the kind of conspiracy that has plunged many a country into chaos and instability. We of the NDC do not wish this for our dear country, hence our constant warnings. The exclusion of the voter ID card from the requirement of registration for the national ID card by the Akufo-Addo-led government was part of a well-calculated scheme to disenfranchise a good number of Ghanaians from acquiring a national ID card, Ghana card, which was to be used subsequently as one of the registration requirements in the new voters register plan they had long hatched.
Now, most of you have been commenting on this particular issue. Let's read some of your comments on Facebook. And State of Mind said there's absolutely nothing wrong with the current register. The EC admitted that fact after using it for the district assembly elections and subsequently the referendum. The biometric devices are still intact. And anyone who tells you it's faulty is just part of a grand scheme to chop our taxes for free. Hassan says the worry of NDC is that there might be a plan of rigging elections by the NPP by registering less in the NDC strongholds and vice versa. But with the NPP, I still don't understand. How will you be against a voters register that gave you over 53% plus votes? And Leslie says, in 2012, NDC requested for a new voter register and it came to pass. Whatever the NPP wish for will also come to pass, so far as the great elephant is on the throne. And that's his comments coming on Facebook concerning the issue, the back and forth of the new voters register. Joy says now they're exposing their own lies. Let's not forget what they told the NDC when they were in opposition. Shaking my head. Latif says this is hard. We are in hard times. New registers, no voters register for what reason? Michael Gatti says we don't need a new register at this time. If the president is really thinking about Ghanaians, they should rather divert that money to buy PPEs and testing kits to do mass testing for COVID-19. If the president really cares about Ghanaians, not his political gains. Mohammed says we are not in normal times, so we don't. And truly, we're not in normal times. Hassan says we do not need it in this critical moment. Yao says no need, crowd. We don't need it. If the old register was able to produce Akufo-Addo to become president, then why does he fear? Or there's a mischief he wants to achieve with the EC chairperson? Those are your comments on Facebook about what's happening with the back and forth with both the NPP and the NDC on the new voters register. Now, very soon we will take you to Kumasi, the Kofoanochi Hospital to be precise, where President Akufo-Addo will cut sword for work to commence on the 47-year-old abandoned maternity and child health block. And before that, we'd have a little conversation with one of my favorite rappers right about now, Kojo Q. He's joining me via Zoom. Good morning, Kojo. How are you? Hey, Q.
Hi.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I see the hair and everything. How was the lockdown?
Basically, I'm still on lockdown, so it's not like it has even ended. I haven't seen my barber in, I don't know, 2 months.
Yeah, but you're kind of looking like maybe a Foriata or somebody. I like the look anyway.
I'm looking like who, Foriata?
Yeah, probably. Anyway, let's talk about music. You came out with an album last year for My Brothers, and it was an amazing album. And we did a few interviews on promoting it. Anything new coming during this lockdown, because people need to be entertained?
I was working on a video for one of the songs. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish it because lockdown and Corona. But my birthday is coming up soon, and I want to drop a new song that's not on for My Brothers. So, yeah. But most people want me to exhaust for My Brothers in terms of videos and everything before I move on to something else.
Okay.
So, yeah. The new one I have is just a birthday gift to my fans, and then that's it.
A birthday gift to you, and when is that coming out?
27th.
27th. Oh, that's your birthday?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm waiting for that. But you know, there's been a lot of back and forth and beefs between Eno and Frida Rhymes and Sister Ifya. Well, beef is actually good for the rap community. We know how it is. We're both, because I'm a rap head and you're a rapper, and we know that it keeps people in check and it wakes rappers up, you know, just to be on their feet and get to know what is going on, you know. So we know who's on top and who's not. Now, let's talk about what's happening now. What do you think of it?
For me, rap, I understand rap is a competitive sport. So anything that people do just for the good of competition is okay. It's just if it passes just competition into personal issues, that's where I personally draw the line. But to be honest with you, I don't know too much about the Eno Sister Ifya thing. Yeah, I don't know enough to make like proper informed comments. I haven't been fully like committed to social media in these times. So
yeah, okay, sure. So what do you think about beef right now in the industry? Let's forget about everybody and everything, but let's talk about beef itself. What do you think about it in the industry?
I believe that people have realized that sometimes that's the easiest way to get attention. And attention is an important currency for us right now. So some people who may not have paid attention to certain people now will be open to like doing something beef, like just to, you know, boost their profile or whatever. Personally, I am anti-beef to a certain degree. Yeah, personally, I believe in just like doing music and concentrating on what I am doing. If somebody takes a shot at me, I'll try to reach out to see if it's a personal thing that we can solve outside the music. If it's not personal, then it's not something that I really need to worry about, because if it's just music, then it's not serious enough. But
you won't try and stand on that, you know, create music and also get noticed?
No. Because in the past, what I've realized is if two people beef and at the height of the beef, they get all the attention from people. When the beef is over, it's still back to the music that you were making before the beef happened. So if people don't like the music you were making before the beef happened, once the beef is over, whoever they liked is who they still like.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up, but we'll do this later, okay?